the foot would not fit in my briefcase. So I wrapped. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten. We're at the start of another weekly reading vlog, and this weekly reading vlog is taking us across Christmas. So this is actually going to be a slightly longer weekly reading vlog than normal. I really wanted to add Christmas to this one, and then we've got a separate New Year vlog, like ending the year. I've got plans for what I want to do for that video. Welcome to the Christmas vlog. I know it's going to be after Christmas when you're seeing this. I hope you all had an amazing time if you celebrate, and if you don't, I still hope you had an amazing time. For this week, oh my god, I am so excited with the reading. There are so many things. Well, actually, yeah, I probably will fit in more books, but the two that I'm really excited about. Okay, so let's start with the one I've started. So today I have started Spinning Silver. I am up to page 144 of the ebook, chapter 10, and I do like this one. So this is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. It is a fantasy book that is based on folklore. It is set in a very snowy setting. I am loving the setting. It is perfect for this time of year, and for me, folklore inspired books, like fairy tale inspired books, they actually really resonate with me and Christmas time. I don't know why, but it does. It goes hand in hand for me, like folklore, fairy settings, all of that, perfect hand in hand with Christmas, December, winter time. That is what I think of. It's got more perspectives than what I was expecting. So I have heard everyone talking about this book as a book that gets recommended on pretty much every single winter TBR that you ever see. It's always on there. This time it was the Discord book club pick for the month, and I was really pleased with this because this is a book that I've been wanting to try out and I've been wanting to read it in winter. What I didn't know is that it has multiple perspectives, which is not something I've ever heard anyone talking about. I wish I had known that going into it. I'm quite lucky because a few people on the Discord channel had already started it and gave a heads up for the fact that there's multiple POVs, because the POVs are not signified in any way. So it's written in first person, but it's written in first person for every single perspective, and there is no indicator that you are changing perspective. It doesn't change with just the chapters, which in that case, okay, cool. With every chapter we're changing perspective, that's absolutely fine. You can get used to that. It's not that either. It does change in the middle of a chapter, and as much as there are, you know, sometimes you'll get those paragraph breaks where you've got like a dot or an image or something and it shows, hey, time's passing or something like that. So like mini chapters, I guess, within a chapter. It has that, and then it will just change perspective, but it won't tell you which perspective. But it doesn't do it every time, which is where it gets confusing. And that's one thing I'm going to say about this book, is it's honestly a bit of a challenge. See who you're following, because there is nothing to signify it. It just changes and you're just like, oh, okay. And there's been a couple times where it's happened where I have been taken out of it and gone, wait, who am I following again? Which person was in this setting? And then I've had to put it all together. Aside from that though, I am enjoying this book. So we've got our three perspectives. The first perspective that we follow in the very first chapter, we are following Miriam. Sorry, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. And her father is a moneylender, but he's not very good at it, and her family is destitute, frequently have no food, cold all the time. They don't have enough money for wood to keep the fire burning and things like this. The town that her father is the moneylender for, the village people, they're not interested in helping them out or paying back what they've taken. They're happy to use his money, well, it's not even his money, it's his wife's money, to use it to better themselves and stuff, but do not want to pay it and will make up loads of excuses. They are all preparing for like feasts and stuff, whereas them at home, they're having really thin soup that is basically just hot water. Her mum's really ill and she just loses it. She gets really frustrated, really angry at the situation, and she's like, no, I'm gonna change this. And so she then takes over and starts getting their money back, which I think, you know, good for her. And then we get another perspective of this girl called Wanda. Wanda, honestly, I feel really sad for her perspectives. Trigger warnings for abuse. Her lot in life is really sad. Her mum's died, she's got two younger brothers, and their father is a drunk and gets into these drunken rages, and she is always the scapegoat for it, and it's a really hard situation to be in. But she ends up working for Miriam because their father owes them money and he can't pay it back. He's got nothing. They barely survive as it is. So Miriam goes, okay, fine, your daughter's going to come and work for me then. She will work work off what you owe. Wanda then starts being able to be a bit more independent and being able to do things for herself, and I think the progress, like, it's such a sad, gut-wrenching story. It's horrible to be in a situation where you've got that abuse at home, and going home is such a dark place. Like, it really is such a gut-wrenching story, but it's also really nice to see the hope of how she's getting out of it. It's got it in there, so I think that one's it's really good. And then we have the third perspective, which popped out of nowhere. It wasn't even a chapter change, it was totally unexpected, and we're following this girl that is a daughter of a duke. I don't even know her name that well because they barely call her name. I know it begins with an I. Ivanka, is it Ishre? Sorry. It's been said maybe like 3 times so far, and I'm already 140 pages in, so it's not been said much. She is in this position where the duke's really disappointed in her, just wanted to try and marry her off, but she's not considered beautiful, so he's not going to get much for her. And then you start seeing how she then starts going into the story, because at first I was like, well, where is her storyline going? And then it does all work together, because the basis of this synopsis is Miriam ends up catching the eye of the Fae because she gets a reputation for turning silver into gold, and the Fae in this book are obsessed with gold. That's how it all starts tying together, and I think it works really well. I love the setting. Where I'm up to is pretty much where the synopsis leads you to, so everything after this point I have no idea what's going to happen, and I've still got like 300-ish pages left of the book to go. Really enjoying it. I think it's a really good time. And then the second book that I'm going to be focusing on is another winter Fae folklore inspired story, and that's Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. It's not, it's the second book. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. I was incredibly lucky and I got this book a whole month early. They actually did a post, so Heather Fawcett did a post where she actually said Waterstones had an error and they accidentally sent some of their books, like some of their pre-orders, early. Not everyone who pre-ordered this book got it early, but some people did, and I was one of those people, and I'm so happy with it. Like, I genuinely am so happy. I know it might mess with like their numbers and stuff. I'm really happy that I got this book early. I'm so excited. So I'm going to be picking this one up. I'm really excited to start it. I think because I've already had this intro going on for like 10 minutes, I'll talk about this more when I actually start it. But it's safe to say I am so freaking excited. The first book is one of my top books from 2023. Loved it. It was absolutely fantastic. It's so cute and heartwarming, and it is a perfect wintry read. Definitely you're going to be seeing that book, like Spin and Silver. If you don't start seeing that on winter TBRs soon, I will be shocked, because it is the perfect winter book to read in my opinion. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop talking because I think this is a long enough ramble of an intro. Like I say, this is going to be a slightly longer vlog than normal, but I honestly don't even know how much I'm going to be filming over Christmas, so it probably won't end up being that much longer, but we might just get extra couple of books read. You never know. But I'm very excited with this snowy fantasy folklore reading vlog across Christmas. I think the vibes are on point. I am so happy with it. I'm gonna actually get ready for work tomorrow and get ready for bed, because it's early evening, but I'm up at 5:30 tomorrow, so I'm going to start getting myself ready for bed and start this. I can't read it all in one go. Like, I would honestly binge this whole book, but I am going to pace myself and read a little bit each evening, and maybe give myself an hour an evening to read this book. So excited. And look how gorgeous it is. It's so pretty. Oh, I love it. I love this. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna stop. We understand that I love this book. I think I've made that point. I'm also wearing green to match. That was accidental, but a good accidental. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna go. Hope you enjoy this vlog. I will see you very soon. Interesting few days. I had to replace my phone, which was not an expense I was expecting, but never mind, that's done. It was a whole situation yesterday where, because my phone screen is cracked, water got into it because it was raining loads, and it was a whole thing, and it just stopped. So, new phone acquired, so that hopefully means from this point on you should get some really nice crystal clear b-roll from me filming with this, because the camera is so much better. I'm really happy with that. So that's one good thing that's come out of this. But reading, so I have read quite a decent chunk of Spin and Silver. I'm now in the middle of chapter 18, about the 312 page mark. It's kind of hard to tell when you're reading on Kindle, but I'm enjoying this. As much as the different perspectives changing and it not having an indication of who we're following until you've read a couple paragraphs in is frustrating, it is also a really good book. Like, I am really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying seeing how all the different perspectives are coming together. We've actually had a couple more perspectives added in. Really well written. Like, I'm really enjoying the writing style. I really like the way that the Fae are being explored, and you can definitely see themes of different folklore stories that are being told throughout this book, which I really like. And I do think that I'm starting to see and feel more of a difference between the characters at this point, which is good. I'm really intrigued where it's going though, because I feel like we've been building to this point and I'm like 65% of the way through, but I don't know how it's going to end. What can we do with this bit that will last this long? Like, I'm really intrigued. I like it. I like the different turns that it takes, and I think the synopsis keeps it very much to what's at the beginning of the book. I like that. I like the fact that I never knew where this book was going, and I still don't really know how it's even going to end. And I like that, because I feel with a lot of books, with the amount of times that a book can be recommended, you can then lose kind of the mystery of what is going to happen in a book, because it's been talked about so many times. There's a lot of spoilers and things. But with this one, even though I've heard this book recommended so many times, I still don't actually know what's going on. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I actually think, depending on how the ending goes, this is probably one that I would like a physical copy of, just because I really am enjoying the writing, the setting. Even this book, like, it's in the middle of June at the minute, but there's still snow around, and that all gets explained. But it's so good to read when it is so cold outside at the minute. It works. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really not going to say too much more of what's going on beyond what I said in the first update of like what's happening with these different perspectives that we've got, because kind of like that, I don't know. I think it just really works. So I think you should definitely give this one a try. Just be aware of the fact that the perspectives changing without indication is a bit of a hard thing at first, but I do think it gets easier if you can stick with it. Then moving on to Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, and I haven't read much. I will be honest, I've been really tired of an evenings. I will sit down to read a bit, but it doesn't make much progress. I'm now on the 20th of September, because there's no like chapter numbers, because it's all journal entries, page 79, and I'm really enjoying this. I loved this. I'm going to give you the first line because it made me chuckle. I think it is an excellent first line. It just sets the tone for this whole book. The foot would not fit in my briefcase, so I wrapped it in a cloth and wrestled it into an old knapsack I sometimes carry with me on expeditions. Really? That's what we're starting with. We're starting with a severed foot. Like, it's so good. I'm really enjoying it. I will not be talking much about what's happening in terms of plot of this, because it is the second book in a series. I can definitely say the vibes are still there, although this is an autumn set book. So the first book was definitely winter, and this book is all the autumn vibes, and I'm loving it. I love the descriptions of the setting. I love everything. It's like light academia. So you've got your dark academia where it's all a lot more grim, they're more thriller based, there's murder and stuff going on, and this is light academia. We are following a professor who is researching the Fae and looking into them, pulling on old folklore stories, and it is written in a way where you do have footnotes where it explains, oh, this is this folklore story that this is based on. I mean, the footnotes on the whole are pretty small. It gives you that background to it, and I love the way that this has been formatted and done, and I just think it's so good. And I'm so pleased that the joy that I had while reading Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies has continued on into this book, because it's so good. I'm really enjoying it. I just wish I wasn't so tired so I could definitely read more, but alas, that's not happening. But I only have one more early shift tomorrow, and after that I can really dedicate some time to this book. So yeah, I'm so excited for it. It is really good. I'm really enjoying it. There's been a couple of things that have happened that I wasn't expecting, but I'm really enjoying, and it's great. It is so good. Would highly recommend this series. Before I go, I have had a couple of packages sent, which I did not order myself. One I have already opened, but that's because it was part of a book club that I'm involved on Instagram, and we did Secret Santa. I got a box of After Eights, and I love After Eights. so that was amazing. But the book they sent is The Witness for the Dead, and this is by Catherine Addison. This is the same author that did The Goblin Emperor, and I really enjoyed that book. It was a really nice cozy fantasy. It wasn't like much happening outside of learning politics and stuff, but I really enjoyed it. And this is the side story of what goes on in that first book. So in the first book, our half-goblin emperor, his family all get killed. That's why he becomes emperor. He wasn't meant to become emperor. He sets someone off to investigate what happened, and I believe that that is what this book is, because we never really fully see that side of things because we're only seeing it from the emperor's perspective, and so this is now the companion and that kind of side quest. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I think it's going to be really good, and I love the cover. Really happy that I got this one. It's really good. We did do set wish lists and like separate ones just for the Secret Santa of it all, so we did know what it would be out of the selection, but I didn't know what specific one. That didn't make sense. I did know what it could possibly be out of the selection because I did the selection, but does that make sense? I'm too tired for that sentence to work. Moving on, I have a rather large package. I don't know what's in here, so let's attempt the pull. We were so close to having that come off in one go. Ooh, oh, there's lots of stuff in here. What? And they're all gift wrap. Oh, these bags are really cute. And they've got like toggle things you can like draw it in. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, that is not the purpose of this, but there are tags. Let's see what the tags say. Enjoy your gift from Elizabeth. Wow, thank you very much, Elizabeth. Let's see, what's this? Ooh, nice. So this is The Latinist by Mark Prinz. This is a book I had on my wish list because it's a dark academia book, one that Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction was talking about, and it sounded really good. Oh my gosh, look at the flop. Oh, that looks awesome. Okay, so this says, Tessa has thrived at the University of Oxford under the tutelage of esteemed classics professor Christopher. Yet shortly before her thesis defense, Tessa learns that Chris has sabotaged her career and realizes their relationship is not at all what she believed. Driven by what he mistakes as love for Tessa, Chris has ensured that no other institution will offer her a position. His tactics grow more invasive as he determines to prove he has her best interests at heart. Meanwhile, Tessa scrambles to undo the damage and makes a startling discovery about an obscure 2nd century Latin poet that could launch her into academic stardom, finally freeing her from Chris's influence. It's a contemporary reimagining of the Daphne and Apollo myth. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. It sounds brilliant, so thank you so much, Elizabeth. This is amazing. And look at that gorgeous cover. Like, isn't that stunning? Okay, then we have, who is this? Is it all from, it should be from the same person if it's in the same bag, right? Yes. Okay, so again, it's from Elizabeth, who's Izzy Rain on YouTube. So thank you so much. I love to watch your vlogs and hope that you have a very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, this is Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. I've already read this book, but it was on my wishlist because I really want this English Library Classic Edition. I love Tess of the D'Urbervilles. Thomas Hardy has become one of my favourite classic authors. I love his writing. Fantastic book. Really enjoyed this. This was my favourite book that I read last year, like one of my favourites, and this year I read another Thomas Hardy book, which again, spoiler alert, is going to be in my top books for this year as well. I really love his writing. This one is a very melancholic book. We are following Tess, and she ends up in this situation that is really not good for women to be in her situation, and it's heartbreaking, and it's a critical look at society at the time and the way it treats women. It was just fantastic. I really enjoyed this book. It was really good, although it is miserable and it does not have a happy ending, but I really enjoyed it. Okay, and the last one, I've definitely been spoiled. Oh my god, thank you so much. Oh wow. Okay, yes, again, thank you, Elizabeth. This is too much. Oh my god, 3 books. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Thank you so much. And this is Our Share of Night by Marina Enriquez, and honestly, I've been intimidated by this book. I was really intrigued by it when it came out in hardback, but that hardback is huge. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to wait till paperback and then I'll think about getting it. I'll stick it on my wish list. I'll think about it, because that's kind of what I use my wish list for, is like, these are books I'm thinking about getting, I am interested in, and eventually I will get around to these, like as in buying them. Yeah, thank you so much, Elizabeth. So this one, again, it's a bit more of a darker, I don't think it's like dark academia, it's more of like a darker thriller horror book, and it does sound absolutely amazing. amazing. Now, everyone that I've heard that's read it has really enjoyed this book, but it is a slow book, so you do have to be patient with it, but I do think it's worth it. Like, I don't mind reading a big book if the payoff is worth it. Like, if it's got gorgeous writing and stuff, I don't want that book to end. This one is, his father couldn't find what was lost. His father knew when someone was going to die. His father had talked to him about the dead who rode in on the wind. The dead travel fast. Gaspar is 6 years old when the order first come for him. For years they have exploited his father's ability to commune with the dead and the demonic, presiding over macabre rituals where the unwanted and the disappeared are tortured and executed, sacrificed to the darkness. Now they want a successor, and their sights are trained on Gaspar. Does sound so good. It sounds really dark, really creepy, and I don't know, I think I'm gonna love this one. I am gonna have to be committed because this is a chunk of a book. I think I'm really gonna like it, so I just need to make sure I'm not intimidated and I don't put this one off for ages and ages. Elizabeth, thank you so much. You really didn't have to. I really appreciate it. I feel completely spoiled. This is absolutely lovely, and thank you so much. Okay, we have one more parcel though, so let's see what's in this one. Oh, that was better. That was in one go. Oh my god, again we've got another couple books. Oh my gosh, right, but the notes are at the top. Naomi, Naomi, you spoil me a heck of a lot. Thank you so much. And it says, Merry Christmas, Kirsten. I hope you have a wonderful time. And thank you so much, Naomi. I hope you also have a lovely time. I hope everybody has a lovely Christmas. Naomi is, honestly, she does the most. Like, can't believe it. But okay, let's have two books. Ooh, the first book I'm seeing here is A Restless Truth by Freya Marske. I loved the first book, A Marvelous Light. I love that book. It is such a nice, cozy fantasy. It's really cute and wholesome. And that one is about this gentleman finding out that magic actually exists and gets caught up in it all. It is set in kind of, I think, is it Edwardian? Set at some point during that time period, which is completely vague. Point is, it's set in the past, and I loved it. It was absolutely amazing. I love the sensibilities. If you saw last week's vlog where I was reading the murder mystery book that was set in the 1920s, like anything set in the past, I just love. I adore it. I think it's absolutely great. I love the way they interact. I love the way that they would converse. Like, it's just beautiful. I absolutely love it. And this is the second book to that. I am really excited, and this one I think we are going off to a different place this time. So we're now following Maud Blythe, who longs for adventure and readily agrees to help her brother unravel a magical conspiracy. She even volunteers to serve as an old lady's companion on an ocean liner. But Maud doesn't expect the lady to turn up dead on the very first day. Oh god. Now she's dealing with a body, a disrespectful parrot, and the outrageous Violet Debenham. Violet is everything Maud was trained to distrust, yet she cannot help but desire a magical, scandalous actress. Surrounded by sea and a ship full of suspects, Maud and Violet need to trust one another. Only then might they locate a magical object worth killing for and unmask a murderer. Sounds so good. Oh, I love this. Maud is actually a character that we meet in the first book. Oh, this is going to be so good. I'm really excited for this one, so I'm definitely going to have to read this one soon. And then the next one, oh, okay, so we have Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. And this is one that I put on there because I really got into horror at the minute. So not every horror, but ocean-based horror, or apparently this is one that was recommended to me. I think it's going to be really good. It says on here, a ghost ship, a salvage crew, unspeakable horrors. So this one we're following Claire, who is days away from being unemployed when her beacon repair crew picks up a strange distress signal. With nothing to lose and no desire to return to Earth, Claire and her team decide to investigate. What they find is shocking. The Aurora, a famous luxury space liner, so it's space. Oh, that sounds really good. Space horror. What if I get into space horror? Okay. Vanished on its maiden tour of the solar system more than 20 years ago. A salvage claim like this could set Claire and her crew up for life. But a quick search of the ship reveals something isn't right. Whispers in the dark, flickers of movement, messages scrawled in blood. Claire must fight to hold on to her sanity and find out what really happened on the Aurora before she and her crew meet the same ghastly fate. Oh, I really like that. And on the back, it's in red. It says help and I see you. Oh, I think that's going to be really cool. Because I started reading oceanic horror this year, like I'm really interested in trying other branches. I know I am a bit of a wuss, but I feel like space horror could be really interesting. Never read one, so that sounds awesome. And it was recommended to me that if I liked Into the Drowned Deep, which I did, it was amazing, that I might enjoy this one as well. So we're giving this a try. Thank you so much, Naomi, for both of these. Oh my gosh, Naomi and Elizabeth, you two have very much spoiled me. Oh my god, look at this. Thank you so much. I'm just gonna keep repeating that like a ridiculous amount, which I'm sure you all don't need to hear, but I really do appreciate it. This is absolutely lovely, and you both really didn't have to, but thank you so much. I'm very much looking forward to all of these and eventually rereading Tess of the Upfields, because that was an amazing book as well. So thank you so much. Alright, I am going to stop it here. We've been talking for 22 minutes. Right, I am going to go. I'm rather hungry. I want to have a shower. I want to do some food and chill out and read a bit more of Emily Wilde, and that is my plan for this evening. But right, okay, I will catch up with you soon. Thank you so much to everyone that takes time to watch these videos and comment and everything. I really appreciate it, and especially thank you to Naomi and Elizabeth for the book. They're so it's great. But right, okay, I will stop talking now. Good morning. I have had a really productive morning because I've come off my earlies. I was up just before 7 o'clock today, and I've spent that time editing my reset video, which I think is coming out after this, just before this. When is that coming out? I don't know. We'll put the date on the screen for you, but it's coming out at some point. That's almost done. I just need to wrap up that, and then I can finish editing it. And I've just got a really productive day planned where I want to also start editing this vlog, getting things done so that across Christmas I can actually have a few days of not editing, which will be really good, but it does mean I have quite a busy day today. So far it's starting off well, so fingers crossed we can keep the momentum going. With regards to reading though, it is heartbreaking to say, but I have not read much of Emily Wilde again. Actually, I haven't read anything since I last updated. I've just been too tired to focus on this, and I really want to focus on it and give it its due because I know how much I'm gonna love it. But this week for some reason I was just exhausted, and I think that happens because when I'm on an early shift I'm getting up so early it's still dark out, and I just find it really tiring. So I've been struggling a little bit this week, and yesterday I did have my hospital appointment. That's all fine, it's just my annual MRI scan that I have done, so I just got to lay in a tube for I think it was like half hour. So that was quite nice. The challenge was don't fall asleep. It's loud, but I was so tired that I could have fallen asleep. But yeah, that was all fine yesterday. It's just I didn't really read much of this. However, over the last couple of days I have actually finished Spinning Silver, and I did really like the ending of this. Honestly, I think the only thing that I can say is a negative about this book for me is the different perspectives and no indication of when they're changing perspectives and who you're following, which I know I've mentioned a lot, but like I said before, this is an oversight that I've not heard anyone talking about. If I'd known that going into it, I would have been a bit more prepared. As it was a bit frustrating at first, but the storyline itself was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was really magical and whimsical, and there were stakes to it, but it was like just the right amount. It was a really good blend. I really enjoyed it, and I liked the way it all wrapped up. It actually wrapped up exactly how I wanted it all to go, so I'm really pleased with that. I think it was just a really good book. Definitely one that I want to get for my shelf. Definitely reread. I'm probably on reread. I am going to write in the perspectives so that the third time or the next time that I reread it after that, I know exactly what's going on. I mean, probably by then I would have reread it enough that I wouldn't need that, but it's something I really want to do. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. There was connections to fairy tales that I feel like I have heard of, but I don't necessarily know the ins and outs, so I really would be interested in looking into what folklore slash fairy tales inspired this book, because I think it was really, really good. So I really enjoyed it. I'm really pleased with it. I would love to say I'm going to read Emily Wilde today, but I'm not going to, because like I say, I am busy trying to get everything done and prepared so that I can have a couple of days off over Christmas. And tomorrow is the Tack Your TBR readathon, and what I want to do is start it this evening, because normally what I do is I would start the Tackle Your TBR in the morning of the day. So say I'm starting it tomorrow, I would start it at about 9-10 o'clock tomorrow morning and finish it 9-10 o'clock the following morning. But because that will be Christmas Eve, it's a family Christmas this time, it's been a while since like we've had everyone together, so it's going to be busy, it's going to be loud, and I don't really want to be updating or trying to wrap up videos during Christmas Eve. So instead I'm going to start it this evening, hopefully at about 8 o'clock in the evening, so then I can finish it 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, so that I can have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day just to relax and chill, and I don't need to worry about editing or updating or anything like that. So it's not going to happen. But what is going to happen is that I'm going to be taking this to my partner's, because I'm spending Christmas Day and Boxing Day at my partner's house, and I'm going to be taking this one with me, and I will be reading it and finishing it while I'm there. The next update will be after Christmas, but obviously I'll put in B-roll, and you will be getting the readathon for tomorrow. But that readathon vlog is actually going to be coming out in the first week of January, just because that's when I've got the time to edit it and put it out. But it's a Christmas filled reading vlog, which honestly the timing to have it come out after Christmas, but you know what, I don't care. Like, I'm really excited for it. I'm not going to change the books that I've chosen for it. It's going to be a good time. So I'll be reading this across Christmas, and I'll check in with you after Christmas. I have got a few things that I still need to do. I still need to wrap up presents. I haven't even done that. I need to try and get that done today as well. There's a lot going on that I need to do. I did make the bracelets though, and I'm really pleased. It was my first time making bracelets. I've never done anything like that before, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the process. I'm hoping the bits I filmed is okay for you to see. Like, it's very fiddly and finicky. Hopefully the B-roll came out okay. I'm really, really pleased with them. I hope they like them. I've done one for my mum and my sister. I have got lots and lots of things to do today. I actually want to film a video as well, and I need to wrap up the reset, as I've said, and I've got editing to do, so I need to get on and do all of that. But I really wanted to come in here to let you know that I'd finished Spin and Silver. I really liked it. It was a good book. I think it was really magical and well done, and hoping to read Emily Wilde's across Christmas. Fingers crossed I get it done. I really, really want to, but yeah. Okay, right, I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm gonna get on with this day. It's very busy, but it will be good fun. And then be Christmas, and I'll see you after Christmas, and I'm repeating myself, so I'm gonna go. I will catch up with you in a few days' time. To wrap up this reading vlog, I hope you all had an amazing Christmas. I know I probably said that at the start, but I hope you did. For myself, mine was equal parts busy as well as relaxing, which was an interesting time, but at least I got some reading done as well, which I'm really, really pleased with. So I did finish Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, and I had such a good time with it, and I'm so pleased that I got time over Christmas just to sit down and read this book. It was everything I wanted it to be. What I loved about the first book was the interactions between Emily and Wendell, and also how the fairy aspect of this book was intertwined with this, and it was still just as good. I will say there's more stakes in this book than in the first book in my opinion, but I loved that anyway, and I love meeting all the different fairy folk and learning about them and the different things that go on, and the way it all ended was just so good. I'm really excited to see where the third book's gonna go. I do have a bit of a weight on my hands, but I think it's worth it. I will say, as much as I said at the start of this vlog that this book is set in autumn, which it is, the place that they go to, winter vibes. It's great. It is cold. Descriptions of the mountains and everything are sublime, and it works so well for reading in winter. So this is definitely a book that you can read. If you prefer reading a book with the seasons, then autumn or winter for this book is perfect. I mean, I think you can read these at any time. They're such good books, but it does add that little bit of extra sparkle to the reading time when you've got it matching how your season is outside as well, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I loved this. This was so good. I really enjoyed characters, the development, the different things that we go through in this, and learning more about Wendell. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed this book. Highly recommend this series. It's absolutely fantastic, and this book didn't feel like second book syndrome. Like sometimes you get that with something that you know is going to be continuing on in a series. If it's longer than a duology, sometimes that second book can really feel like a build-in book, but I didn't really get that with this. It went so well with who Emily is, and Emily is someone that is fascinated about fairies. Obviously she is a professor, she teaches people about fairies. Her fascination with that and her want to record everything and the things that they're trying to discover, it just doesn't feel like a filler book when you've got a character that stays true to that. Like, she didn't change in any way. It just felt so natural to who Emily is, and obviously the banter between her and Wendell is superb. Like, I really, really enjoyed this. I had such a good time with it. I'm so pleased I got to this over Christmas. It was perfect, and while it does mean that I did not finish my December TBR, I had Penance that I was meant to read. I didn't get to that because Penance was replaced by this book, and I'm sorry, but I'm so much happier with this. It was fantastic. So yeah, I'm really, really happy that I got to read this. But I also brought another book to my partner's house, and this is The Narrow Road Between Desires by Patrick Rothfuss. This was actually meant to be in my Tackle Your TBR readathon, which did happen on Saturday, and I did have a good time with it. However, it ended up being more busy. We were on the run up to Christmas, and I knew that was going to happen, and I was fine with it, but this is one of the books that I just didn't get to, and I really wanted to read it. Patrick Rothfuss is one of my favourite authors. Like, I really like the way he writes. It's really beautiful. I knew I wanted to read this sooner rather than later, so I decided to take it with me on the off chance that I got quite a bit of reading done and I finished Emily Wilde's earlier, which is exactly what happened. I finished Emily Wilde on Christmas Day evening, and then I read this on Boxing Day, and I had such a lovely time with it. I will say this is not his strongest work in my opinion. This is a reworking of a short story that he wrote, I think almost 10 years ago now, that was called The Lightning Tree. And it's a reworking of that, and the basis of this is that we're following a character called Bast, who you meet in his series, which is The Name of the Wind. Really good book. Absolutely love The Name of the Wind series. This is now the second novella that he's written for that series, and it was fine. I enjoyed it because I like his writing. However, I will say that it's not as good as the other novella that he's done, which is A Slow Regard of Silent Things. I just preferred that, but that could just be because I prefer Ori, who we're following, as a character more. But what I liked about this book is that it gave you more insight into the fairy aspects of the world that Patrick Rothfuss has created, because while you get hints of that and it does get explored a bit more in the second book, The Wise Man's Fear, it's not as deep because the character that you're following, he doesn't know much about fairy, whereas Bass, he knows quite a bit more, and so you do get a lot more interest into what's going on to do with fairy, and I enjoyed that. This also has that, because it's about fairy and you're learning more about fairy, it's got that more folklore fairy tale aspect to it. In terms of how the story went, it very much felt like a Grimm's-esque fairy tale. A lot nicer. This is a lot more heartwarming, but it's got that aspect of like you have to do things 3 times, and so it worked really well actually for reading Emily Wilde's and also Spinning Silver this week, because all 3 of these books did fairies but in different ways, but they also all had similar things going on with them, which I really like that. I liked how that all wove together. This is a book that technically you could read on its own. However, there is a couple of callbacks to the second book in this book, but they're more like inside jokes sort of things, so you can get away with not knowing it if you wanted to just test out his writing. But I would say if you want to test out his writing, then The Slow Regard of Silent Things is a better one to do that with, because it stands more on its own than with this book. This book is a bit more intertwined with the actual novels, if that makes any sense. But I enjoyed it. I'm really pleased that I read it. It is filled with illustrations. I will say that this illustration style, again, compared to The Slow Regard of Silent Things, which I know I keep comparing, but they are the two novellas, I actually prefer the illustrations in The Slow Regard of Silent Things. Not that these are bad, because they're not, it's just the illustration style isn't exactly what I prefer, but it's still a good time and the illustrations are still lovely, it's just personal preference. This also takes place over the course of one day as well, which was perfect that I then read it in the course of a day. And then, as I mentioned, for this vlog we also read Spin and Silver by Naomi Novik, which was the Discord book club pick for the month, and I really enjoyed this one. I think what I've enjoyed about this reading week is the fact that we've had Christmas, but also the reading has been more winter based fairy folklore, with the exception of the Narrow Between Stars, because this actually takes place on a summer's day, on a very long summer's day. But if you ignore the fact that it takes place in summer, it's still got the fairy folklore aspect to it. But the other two books with their winter aspects, beautiful, absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed that, so I'm really pleased I read those three books this week. Each of them have been really good in their own ways. I think the weakest book for me was actually The Narrow Road Between Desires, but the other two are perfection. Really enjoyed this reading vlog, my week of reading. I hope you've enjoyed the vlog. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave it there. I hope you have enjoyed this weekly reading vlog. I hope you had a good Christmas, or at least a good couple days just relaxing if you don't celebrate Christmas. The next weekly reading vlog is actually going to be after New Year's, so I hope you have a lovely New Year's as well. I am going to leave it there. As I said, I am going to stop talking, so let's put a snowflake in the comments below if you've made it this far, just for all the winter themed fairy tale books. Oh, it was such a good reading week. I'm very pleased with it, and thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support this whole year. It's been really amazing and I really appreciate all of you, so thank you so much for making this year really special here on YouTube. Like, it's been lovely to grow with you and to then start doing readathons with you. It's been great. But before I get too sappy, I'm gonna go. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do give it that thumbs up, subscribe and comment. Those three things really help this channel grow. My social media links and anyone I've mentioned will be linked below, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.